in England in 1592. There begins our tale, and all of it is true. Through all of London bubonic plague did spread, covering folk in weeping sores and leaving thousands dead.
I like it already.
From towns and cities, doctors they did flee, leaving their patients to die in misery.
But one brave doctor stayed when all the cowards fled, might have been because he was too sick to leave his bed.
Alas, 'tis my final hour. I will surely die. I am too far gone to recover, and for the plague there is no cure. Unless a cure might be found in the stars. Let me see now. According to the stars, the way to cure the plague is to treat the fever it provokes. Oh, can it be true? Might a disease so monstrous as the plague be cured by treating it as if it were an exceeding bad fever? Then I must use powerful herbs to bring the fever to crisis and break it. Let me see now. Angelica and dandelion for heat, borage to provoke sweating, infuse them in wine, strain and distill the mixture to produce a most powerful strong water. Huzzah! I am cured! I shall now go forth with my miraculous strong water to cure all London of the plague.
Foreman made a plague cure and used it on himself, then left his house to restore London to health.
Huzzah! 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 Huzzah!
Simon Foreman, he cured us of the plague. His rules some details
are a little vague, but we know he used astrology and knows his own strong water. So what if he be not a proper licensed doctor? Here comes a lady queer and a little warily. Her name is Avis Allen. What can her trouble be?
God give you good day, madam. How may I...
Are you Mr. Foreman? Mr. Simon Foreman, the doctor?
Aye, madam, I am indeed Dr. Simon Foreman. I bid you welcome to my consulting chambers. Mistress...
Allen, Mistress Avis Allen of Lambeth.
Pray tell me your age, if you please, madam.
I am 33 years of age.
And how might I do you service this day, Mr. Allen? Pray describe your troubles to me.
Well, the pain started full late last eve upon retiring to bed. Oh, not that I am in the habit of retiring so late, but my husband did desire a special supper of cold meats to celebrate and give thanks in any case, it started in the night and it continued until dawning. That being the pain in my head and the chundering.
A moment whilst I make note of this. Headache and involuntary purging. Is that all?
Aye, that is all. And thinking on it, my complaint to seem most trifling, and you are doubtless busy with important cases. Oh, like the plague! Yea, verily, mayhap I should not have come after all. Good day, Dr. Foreman. I beseech you pardon me, for I have wasted your time.
Prithee, do not go, for I assure you, madam, your case verily is important to me. And 'tis important to you, is it not, Mistress Allen? else you would not have come this day.
Well, I.
Let us consult the stars now then, shall we? What is the cause of Mistress Allen's suffering? You are with child, Mistress Allen. 'Twas the reason for your celebration last even, methinks.
I? But how did you know?
I can see it in my chart, madam. There is a planet aligned with Scorpio at present, Scorpio being the constellation that rules over such matters. Pray tell, how long has it been since your monthly courses?
It has been 14 weeks since my courses, and yesterday I did feel the child quicken. So, indeed, 'twas the cause for our celebration, as you say. For I have been with child before, you see, but 'tis never. And Mr. Allen and I do pray this one will be born alive.
There, dear lady. The presence of the planet Mercury in my chart does suggest you suffer from anxious passions on account of your condition, and given your ill-favoured history, I warrant 'twas the twin burdens of hope and fear that provoked your troubles last even.
Oh, I see.
Pray take this flask of wine, madam. It has been infused with cloves, ginger root, and cinnamon. Drink of it each morning, and you should soon feel much improved.
Verily, I will do as you advise. I thank ye heartily, sir. Fare you well, Dr. Foreman.
Fare you well, Mistress Allen.
Best solution for a pregnant lady.
Almighty God, to thy servant honest kindness has not blessed with sense and wisdom.
Good day, sir. You are Simon Foreman, the physician, are you not? These are your rooms.
Indeed, I am he, and well met, sir. Be it Thomas Blagg I have the honour of welcoming to my humble consulting chambers, the Dean of Rochester Cathedral?
Indeed, 'tis I, Thomas Blagg. Though it is not upon church business that I come to you this day. 'Tis upon a matter of my own that I require counsel. I have lately been offered some very lucrative investment opportunities. And, well, it is said that God speaks to us through the stars, does he not?
Indeed he does. 'Tis well known that astrology is but a conduit for the word of God, as interpreted using scientifical means. And now, these investments of which you speak, pray tell of them, if you please.
2 merchant ships will shortly set sail on very lucrative trading expeditions. I do not possess the coin to invest in both. Hence, I must choose between them. And I must choose very wisely indeed. For sea voyages are most perilous, and if my ship were to founder or be captured by pirates, I would lose my entire investment.
Aye, forsooth, 'twould be most lamentable, to say nothing of the poor souls who might lose their lives.
Who are, naturally, the greater of my concerns.
Aye, naturally. And whither might these ships be bound?
The first is bound for the Spice Islands of the East. 'Tis a voyage to be undertaken by a ship named the Conquering Cherub. The other is the Pride of Yarmouth. She is to bring back sugar from the Americas. Have you now the information you require? Then perchance you may divine for me upon which of these two ships our Lord God has bestowed his divine blessing.
Aye, Dean Blagg, we may now consult the stars. Should Thomas Blagg invest in the voyage of the Conquering Cherub, or that of the Pride of Yarmouth? The stars advise you to invest in the ship named the Conquering Cherub.
I see. And why is that?
Well, I have calculated that at this very hour, upon this very day, the planet Mars and the constellation Scorpio do both dwell in that part of the sky we call the House of Children. And, as it happens, Mars is the ruler of Scorpio, hence we may say that Mars is presently exalted.
Mars has been exalted by Scorpio, you say? And what might that mean?
When exalted, Mars represents victory. And so, with victory in the House of Children, we may read this as a victorious child. Ergo, the Conquering Cherub.
Ah, I see. For a cherub is a kind of child, is it not? In sooth, I do find the science of astrology verily fascinating. I thank you, Dr. Foreman. You have been most helpful.
Here comes Emma, shy and comely maid. All men who meet sweet Emma wish to come to her aid. Timid as a little bird, frighted by an unkind he gentle, for she seems full afraid.
Good morrow, sir. Pray tell, are these the consulting chambers of Simon Foreman, Doctor of Astrology and Physic?
Indeed, 'tis I, Dr. Simon Foreman. And your name, madam?
Emma Sharp of Shoreditch, sir. 25 years of age.
Welcome, Miss Sharp. And how may I do you service this day?
Well, 'tis a trifle delicate. A man has asked me to be his wife. A dear, kind man, but I fear you will think me cold, Dr. Foreman.
There, madam, whatever is the matter?
Well, he is exceeding advanced in years. I do worry he may not be long for the world, and if he were to die, I do not think I could bear it. Verily, I would not. Indeed, methinks I would rather not marry him at all. Am I very heartless, Dr. Foreman?
Nay, not in the least, madam. Your fears are most reasonable. A man in the winter of his life is indeed more likely to die. I assure you, madam, 'tis a medical fact. But methinks you wish to know whether this man be afflicted with a grave health condition, do you not? To wit, any ailment that might soon prove fatal?
Forsooth I do. That is my question precisely. Why, Dr. Foreman, 'tis as if you have a gift for reading minds.
Merely the gift of logical surmise, madam. Let us see whether a judgment of the stars may calm your fears. Does Mr. What was your gentleman's name?
Mr. George Middleton, a wool merchant.
Does Mr. Middleton have any ailments that might hasten his death? am full sorry, madam, but the stars give heavy news. Mr. Middleton suffers from a cardiac passion. Indeed, his heart may stop at any moment. He must avoid anything that might alarm or trouble his vital spirits. One shock could be enough to kill him.
Oh, woe, alas, poor Mr. Middleton. I thank you for your kind understanding, Dr. Foreman, and for your discretion in this matter. I will at once to my family go and beseech them not to make me accept Mr. Middleton's proposal. God give you good day, Dr. Foreman.
Well, that doesn't apply to me. But a doctor.
A-murdering would those doctors come. A-murdering those doctors come. A-murdering one fine day. Those doctors will they slave those doctors will they slave on us, slave on us. Oh, will they send him to jail? They send him to jail.
What is the meaning of this warning being put about by the College of Physicians? Do they mean to do me harm? It is true that I do not have a medical license. What am I to do? Mayhap the stars will advise me. I see. These doctors have waged war against me, and the only way to stop them is to obtain a medical license. And in the House of Religion... yes, a reminder that the Archbishop has the power to grant such licenses. Mayhap I will one day find a way to petition him for one. In the meantime, I must serve my querents well, for if I do, they will doubtless favour me with letters of recommendation I can use to petition the University of Cambridge to grant me a license.
This is how medical licenses should work.
Who's this man at the door who we've not seen before? Who's this man at the door who we've not seen before? Who is come to inquire dressed in so strange attire? Tis Signor Ferraro.
Good day to you, sir. Oh, I see you're having some difficulties. William, fetch my guest a chair.
No, it's good. I am just a little stiff.
As you wish. Mr.
Signor Riccardo Ferraro. I am a gentleman of Venezia, come to make a trade in London.
Venice? 'Tis a fine city, I hear. And how may I do you service this day, Signor Ferraro?
I am come with una problema medicale, and you are most great dottore who does cure all London, eh? You cure Ferraro too, see?
Forsooth, I will seek to do so, Signor. Pray, describe your complaints, if you please.
Is burning when I make the water.
Pain during urination?
See, and is pain down here. Molto pain.
And pain in the lower back. Now, let us see what the stars can tell us. What ails Signor Riccardo Ferraro?
One of the benefits of in a vast place like the South is that I don't actually know which STD this is. I just know that it's an STD. Ooh, or that. That is a much kinder interpretation.
'Tis a case of stones in the kidney, I regret to say. But worry not, Signor. I will give you an ounce of my strong water to dislodge them. Drink this entire flask when you rise at dawn tomorrow. You may then expect to evacuate the stones by way of your privy member within just a few hours.
Ah, your famous strong water. This water is said to cure the plague, huh? I thank you, Signor Foreman. And now Riccardo Ferraro bids you good day.
Or maybe he does have a STD.
Tis sure she's no beauty, 'tis true she lacks finesse, but every awkward hero needs his awkward princess.
Ah, well met, Mistress Allen. Pray tell, the last time I saw you, you were with child, methinks. Pray tell, how
I
fares...
would rather not talk about that if you please.
Oh, I see. I am full sorry, madam. What
I'm
brings
come
you
upon...
this-
The matter
I beg
that
your
brings...
pardon, madam. I prithee, madam, say on.
I'm come about the new law. I know not what to do, and I would have counsel.
You are in trouble with the law, madam?
Nay, at least not yet, but my neighbours have begun to remark unkindly upon my absences, my Sunday absences from church. I am afeard one of them may soon denounce me.
Ah, 'tis the Act Against Recusants you speak of. The law that obliges Catholics to attend church and take the English sacrament. You are of the Catholic faith, then, I take it?
I, a Catholic, but as well a law-abiding woman and a full loyal subject of the Queen. Long may she reign.
I do not doubt it, madam.
But to take the Protestant sacrament, 'tis heresy. So says the Pope in Rome. I risk being damned to hell if I do it, Dr. Foreman. Verily, I find myself in a most terrible bind.
I see. Damned if you do, yet condemned if you do not. A cruel bind indeed. Well, let us see if the stars may untangle it for us. Should Mistress Avis Allen attend Protestant church services?
I think it's qualified for
I fear the stars confirm your fears. You must attend church every Sunday, lest you risk being prosecuted for being a recusant.
Oh, but then what of my soul, Dr. Foreman?
Methinks I have a solution for that, madam. If you were to cross your fingers behind your back during the service, any Protestant oath you swear would not count. Of course, you must be sure to stand at the back of the church while doing so that only God may see, and no one else.
Forsooth, what an ingenious notion! Oh, Dr. Foreman, you have saved me. You are so wise, sir. 'Tis so. Verily, 'tis most admirable.
But, dear lady, 'tis you who is to be admired. The strength of resolve, your devotion to your faith, and your... Madam, would you care to... see my collection of Venetian glassware?
I think I would. Indeed, I would like that very well.
Here comes a beauty dark as night. Her hair does shine, her eyes are bright. A damsel formed for man's delight. Oh, she's quite a lady. Oh, she is quite a lady.
Good day to you, sir. I am Amelia Bassano of Bishopsgate, here for my consultation.
Welcome, Mistress Bassano. Bassano? 'Tis an Italian name, is it not?
Aye, it is, sir. Though I was born in London, my family are from Venice. They did come to London to gain employment as musicians at the royal court.
Ah, I know one of your countrymen, Riccardo Ferraro, another one of my querents. Mayhap you know him? He hails from Venice too.
No, sir, I do not know him. Venice is a large city, and as such 'tis home to many thousands of men. And as I did mention, I was born in London.
Aye, of course. Mayhap we turn our thoughts to what brings you hither this day. Have you a question for me?
Aye, sir, I wish to know what afflicts me, for my belly does begin to swell, and lately I oft find myself chundering after meals.
Swollen abdomen and involuntary upward purging. Well now, let us consult the stars to judge the cause of these troubles. What is ailing Mistress Amelia Bassano?
Is she preggers?
I neglected to ask. Is there a Mr. Bassano?
Aye, my father still lives.
I mean to say, are you yet married, Mistress Bassano? I presume you are, for the stars indicate that you are with child. Wondrous news indeed.
Ah, I see.
Of course, it is natural for a young lady to be a trifle anxious when she's expecting her first child. And I see you are anxious, are you not?
Aye, Mr. Foreman, I own that I am.
Well, doubtless you are anxious owing to the unpredictable nature of your condition. For instance, sometimes the child might emerge from its mother's womb early, weeks or even months earlier than anticipated. This possibility is a medical fact, and one that should be explained to any husband you may... Do you see what I'm saying, Mistress Bassano?
Nay, not in the least, sir.
Ah, some of my maiden querents, I assume you are still unmarried and therefore a maiden, when they find themselves inexplicably with child, they oft do not remain unmarried for long. I advise you to discuss this with your family without delay, Mistress Bassano. Doubtless they will be keen to make the arrangements for you.
I see. Yes, of course. I must lose no time in finding a husband. I thank ye, Dr. Foreman. Good day.
Mary Payne is frightened when she spies a looking glass, for 'tis a portal out through whence the gates of hell do blast. A deadly and foul wind that comes direct from Satan's power. La, 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 la.
Blessed morrow to you, Dr. Foreman. I am Mary Payne of 4th Street in Lambeth. I'm come to seek your counsel about my neighbours.
Good morrow, Mistress Payne, and well met. What trouble do your neighbours give you? They play their lutes into the night, perchance? Mayhap a neighbour has cast a malignant spell upon your cabbages.
Why, sir, 'tis no trifling matter. Indeed, 'tis a matter of grave importance. Doubtless you do know we have a Catholic living on 4th Street, a woman by the name of Avis Allen.
Ah, yes. I did hear tell that Mistress Allen subscribes to the Romish faith. But 'tis no crime to be a Catholic, is it, madam? At least, not at present.
Aye, but harbouring a Jesuit priest is, Dr. Foreman. These evenings past, I have spied a man sneaking in and out of the Allens' house. 'Tis my reckoning the man is a priest who is going hither and thither all over Lambeth to perform the Catholic Mass and take confessions. Doubtless Mr. Allen is hiding him in one of those little cupboards.
You mean to say you think Mr. Allen has installed a priest hole in his house? A secret room hidden behind the wood panelling of a wall?
Indeed, I do. I am certain that he has such a hole, and that a priest is going in and out of Mr. Allen's hole from dusk till dawn.
Verily? How troubling. But surely you are mistaken, madam, for under the cover of darkness, how can you be sure the man you did spy was not Mr. Allen himself?
Nay, 'twas not Mr. Allen. Mr. Allen is a fine, tall figure of a man, whereas the figure I did spy was very narrow and malformed in appearance. A scrawny little imp of a man he was.
I see.
Now, you must not think me intolerant, Dr. Foreman. If Mistress Allen must cling to her idolatrous backward beliefs, 'tis her own affair, and I have no wish to cause trouble for the Allens. And 'tis true that Mistress Allen does now attend church on Sundays and takes the English sacrament just as she ought to. But we residents of 4 Street are decent English folk. We will not abide an agent of Rome sneaking around our neighbourhood, muttering incantations in some devilish foreign tongue.
I think you mean Latin, madam.
But before I act upon my suspicions, I think it wise to know if there be any truth in them.
Then let us see what the stars can tell us. Who is this mysterious stranger, and why does he frequent the Allen's house late at night? The man you saw prowling around the Allen's house is no priest. He is a thief, come at night to steal silver plate and candlesticks.
'Tis a mere robber I saw. On my honour, that is well to hear. Still, something must be done about it. I will rouse the menfolk of 4 Street and have them patrol our street each night until this sneak thief is apprehended.
Ah, is that truly necessary, madam? Be there not more...
Pleasant day, Dr. Foreman.
When the querent does rock a continental frock, when the Ferraro does rock a continental frock, when his Italian flair features all facial hair, 'tis Ferraro.
Signor Ferraro.
Wonder who it is.
God give you good day, signor, and how may I assist you?
'Tis I, Riccardo Ferraro, come once again to see the great dottore Simon Foreman.
So I see. What brings you this day?
I bring myself to you, so you treat my illness. 'Tis very grave.
And, what might this illness be? Perchance we might start with your complaints.
First problem is the laughter that cannot be controlled.
Uncontrollable laughter, you say? I see. Anything else?
Next problem, the dancing that cannot be controlled.
Uncontrollable dancing. And yet, you do not appear to be dancing at present.
What can I say? 'Tis uncontrollable dancing. I cannot control when I dance.
Nay, 'tis a fair point.
Doubtless my disease, whatever it may be, is very rare and very difficult to diagnose. But of course, if it be beyond your medical understanding...
Let me assure you, signor, that whatever is said of us on the continent, the learning of we English doctors is unparalleled. There is no better medical care to be had than in London. Now, let us see whether the stars may tell us something of your unusual and troubling illness.
Is this drunk man here?
sounds to me like you're experiencing pain in your stomach.
But how did you know this?
Indeed, methinks you are stricken with a bout of colic. Most doctors do advise upward purging, but I have found the dog cure more efficacious in cases of colic.
The dog cure?
Aye. First you must find a dog lying idle on the ground. On any street in London you will find such a creature. Then you must kick the dog away, lower your breeches, and then make water upon the spot where the dog did lie.
If you say so, Signor Foreman.
If we were not on English soil, of course, I would have said you were bitten by a tarantula. But there be no such spiders in England. Our weather is much too cold for them. Indeed, only an overqualified quack who draws his medical knowledge from books alone would think such a diagnosis appropriate in this case.
Indeed, most ludicrous.
And in truth, the laughing and dancing you are troubled with may doubtless be attributed to your hot-blooded Latin temperament.
Doubtless you speak true, eh? 'Tis but a symptom of my hot Venetian blood. Riccardo Ferraro bids you good day.
Why does this lady feel confined? Mayhap the world is too unkind. Nay, doctor, medicate her mind.
Pray cure this comely lady. Pray cure this
Comely lady.
Good day to you, madam.
Yes. Good day, Mr. Foreman. Pray tell, is your Venetian querent Riccardo Ferraro one of the patients you treat for troubles of the mind? Forsooth, his manner is right strange. I passed him at the door, and when I addressed him in the Italian tongue, he abruptly turned from me and ran away down the street.
Nay, Signor Ferraro has no grave troubles of the mind that I'm aware of. Mayhap he was merely dumbstruck by your beauty, madam.
Dr. Foreman, a man is rarely struck dumb by a woman's beauty. Indeed, 'tis quite the reverse. He is oft rendered all the more loquacious, plaguing her with ill-formed metaphors he believes are compliments, and with hasty declarations and invitations she has neither sought nor invited.
Ah, quite. But let us turn our minds to happier thoughts. I did lately hear of your marriage to your cousin, Mr. Alfonso Lania, for which I must congratulate you. And as I recall, you were with child when I last saw you.
Aye, I was, as you correctly judged.
And your child and husband are both well, I hope?
I would rather not discourse on the subject of my husband, Dr. Foreman.
As it pleases you, madam. What brings you this day?
Lately I have been feeling heavy and lethargic. I do also find it hard to fix my attention upon the book I am reading or upon words I am composing. And yet, although I oft feel right tired, I am having difficulty sleeping.
Ah, well, becoming a mother, beset with all the demands of a suckling babe, can force change upon the normal rhythms of life.
Nay, 'tis not that, for I have employed a wet nurse for the feeding and much of the care of my son. Methinks I must have some kind of disease.
I see. Let us consult the stars to see what afflicts you. What is ailing Mistress Amelia Lania? Mistress Lania, the stars indicate that your suffering is occasioned by melancholy, or, in other words, black bile.
I see. And what treatment can you give me for it?
Before we speak of treating your condition, madam, I think it wise we determine what has provoked it. You did express a desire not to speak of your husband, and I cannot help but think that such a reluctance reveals where the source of your troubles might lie, to wit, within your marriage. Would I be right in thinking this? I do not wish to cause you distress, madam, but as a doctor, I do feel I must press you in case it is relevant to your troubles.
My marriage is not a happy one, Dr. Foreman. Mr. Lanier and I do not agree on matters of money and strong drink.
I see. And what are your opinions on these subjects?
That he spends all our money on strong drink. He disagrees.
And your husband cannot be brought around to see your point of view, nor you his, I presume. Well, the marital discord provoked by strong differences of opinion can often engender melancholy in a wife. Until the matter is resolved between you, you may take a syrup of roses and chicory. Drink of it each day, and it will serve to reinvigorate your vital spirits. I will also have my manservant William bleed you of some of that excess bile.
I thank ye, Dr. Foreman.
William, come hither and bleed Mistress Lanier.
Yay!
What is variation? We are no longer sure. Sees Foreman's now a patient, and Avis is the cure.
Ah, my dear Avis, what a pleasure it is to see you. I have oft thought of our
I
last...
cannot tarry long. My husband will be expecting me home.
Of course. But, dear lady, is something the matter?
Of course. Do not all your querents come with a matter they wish an answer to?
Well, yes, but...
I wish to ask of the stars whether a man I am close with, a man who is not my husband, whether that man be also close with another woman.
A man you are... I see. Well, if I am to judge the stars for you, I must ask you to be more precise. In what sense do you mean close? The platonic bond of friendship?
Nay, close in the sense of being intimate.
I see. Then 'tis the familial tie of kinship, perchance.
Nay, I mean someone with whom I have shared physical relations.
Verily, madam, if I am to give you an accurate reading, you must state your question clearly.
Methinks you know full well what I ask. I bid you ask the stars whether my lover is, that is to say, be it true that he engages with another woman in acts of strumpy-humpy.
Madam, you astonish me. 'Tis unlike you to speak such indelicate words. Now, if I understand you correctly, you have a lover, and you wish to know whether he has been sharing his tender favours with another woman.
Aye, but did I not verily say so?
And now that we have at last fathomed your question, let us read the stars to fathom an answer. Has Mistress Allen's lover been unfaithful to her?
No, I haven't. I've been very faithful.
The stars are most clear, madam. Your lover has not been coupling with another woman.
He has not.
Forsooth, the stars say that your mind has been turned by jealousy and confusion. Now, if there is nothing further, madam...
Oh, how relieved I am to hear you say this. Oh, Simon, what a fool I have been not to trust you.
But you... this lover... 'twas me all along? You were not speaking of some other man?
I beseech you, pardon me, Simon. I had to know the truth from the stars, for I did hear tell of other women.
But how could you not see? No other woman is to me so dear, and verily is it not clear to you that I...
Do you verily, Simon?
Oh, my dear, sweet Avis.
I verily is.
Fortescue always has what's new. Far ahead of friends of her friends, she oft gets her hands on goods from foreign lands. That Captain Fortescue sends.
Good morrow, madam. I humbly welcome you to my consulting chambers, and thank you for choosing my practice. Mistress...
Fortescue. Mistress Sybil Fortescue.
Well then, Mistress Fortescue, what may I assist you with this day?
I come upon a most troubling matter, sir. I know not whether it is a medical matter or something else.
I see. Pray describe your trouble to me, madam.
Well, I suppose it all began with a dinner I hosted at my house last even. Mayhap you have heard of my dinners, Dr. Foreman. They are much talked about. Though I fear last evening's dinner will be talked about for all the wrong reasons.
Talked about, you say?
Yes, indeed, invitations to my dinners are much sought after, for I host the most desirable of guests, lords, bishops, poets, explorers, painters, and the like. Why, last eve I hosted the famous Robert Lord Devereux, the playwright William Shakespeare, and the Bishop of London and his wife. As well as fascinating conversation, at my table I serve the very latest and most original dishes. Last even, I served an exotic green vegetable called a potato. So crisp and refreshing. My dear husband sent them home to me from the New World. Doubtless you have heard of my husband, Captain Fortescue. He is a great friend of Sir Walter Raleigh.
I see. Your dinners do sound most excellent, Mistress Fortescue. But what occurred at last eve's dinner that has you so distressed?
Well, in truth, 'twas after dinner. We all felt a strong desire to take some air, and so we left the table to take a turn in some pleasure gardens nearby. But then, as we were walking along the path, right in the middle of the gardens, in full public view...
Pray do not distress yourself, madam. Prithee, take your time.
My guests and I were, all of a sudden, stricken with pain. We began chundering and voiding from our... But there was nowhere to turn, you see. There were no bushes close by to shield our modesty. 'Twas unspeakable.
A moment, madam, as I note this down. Abdominal pain and simultaneous upward and downward purging of a most sudden and violent nature. Now, let us see how these stars explain this most distressing and unsavoury event. What troubled Mistress Sybil Fortescue and her guests last eve?
I guess it's the potato.
Madam, I think you said the New World vegetables you dined upon were green in colour, did you not? And you described them as crisp and refreshing, I think. I take it then that you served them to your guests green and raw?
Yes, indeed. Most of the potatoes my husband sent me were full dull and unhealthsome in appearance. Hence I served only the green ones. I had my cook cut them in such a way as to resemble roses. 'Tis the way I oft serve my apples.
Ah, then your trouble was a severe case of evil digestion. I have read that these vegetables can be noxious if they turn green.
Oh, my days! Do you mean I poisoned my guests?
In a manner of speaking, aye. But worry not, madam, for the suffering was but temporary. Indeed, it does sound as if the bodies of your guests were most comprehensively purged of the poison. However, in future be sure to cook the, potatoes until they are soft, and pray do not eat the ones that have turned green.
As God shall mend me! What a shameful affair this has been! I shall go home and, well, I shall write to my husband and ask that he includes cooking instructions with the next gift of food that he sends me. I thank ye and bid ye good day, Dr. Foreman.
Here comes a literary mind, one such as we do rarely find. Just needs a man to be behind, for she's but a lady.
Good even, Miss Lanier. What brings you?
I am come about my future, Dr. Foreman. I wish to know whether I will find success as a writer of poems and plays. You can predict futures, can you not?
You, madam? A writer of poems and of plays? Forsooth, how verily remarkable.
Well, 'tis true most of us Bassanos and Laniers are musicians, but I have chosen a different path. I've lately begun a collaboration with a poet and playwright. Let us call him Mr. S. He is presently writing a play that takes place in northern Italy, and as I am of Italian heritage, he has asked me to help him write it.
How interesting. And does this collaboration betwixt you go well?
Right well, or so methinks. Indeed, Mr. S did suggest that I am full talented as a writer. Be not afraid of greatness, he told me. For once our play opens upon the London stage, our success will follow, as night follows day.
I see. Then what would you have me ask the stars, madam?
Well, I've noted that Mr. S, although a brilliant man, is oft prone to exaggerated melodrama and implausible plot resolutions. I wish to know whether this story of his, of our future success, is true.
Very wise of you, madam. Then let us see whether your success or failure is writ in the stars. Will Mistress Amelia Lanier find fame and fortune as a writer?
Stolen. Let's see if that's... I mean, it's this one, but I don't want it to be that one. I want it to be this one.
Madam, the stars tell of a great deceit against you. They suggest that your collaboration with Mr. S puts you at risk of, let me see here, creative domination and theft. The result being that you will reap little from your collaboration with Mr. S, but feelings of bitterness and jealousy.
I cannot believe this of Mr. S. He is a right honourable man. I cannot believe such compelling insights into the human condition could be writ by such a knave as you describe. To be sure, he does oft indulge in wordplay for its own sake, thus cheapening and unnecessarily prolonging a scene. But nay, he is not a bad man. I know you mean well, Dr. Foreman, but I believe your judgment of the stars must be wrong on this occasion.
Mistress Avis Allen, the love of Foreman's life, how futile 'tis to fall for another man's wife.
Oh.
Good day to you, sir.
Good day to you, madam. What service may I perform for you this day?
For me? None. None at all.
Verily. Then I cannot fathom why you...
'Twas my husband who bade me come, for he finds it difficult to speak of... As I say, he had me come in his stead, and I could think of no reason to give him for why I should not come.
I see. Then what is troubling your husband? Madam, I cannot treat a querent without knowing first what his troubles are.
He is unable to perform his marital duties.
I see. And whatever does that mean? Your husband forgets to put out the night soil? Some broken shelving he's neglected to fix? Prithee, madam, I bid you be more precise.
Oh, you know perfectly well what I mean, Simon. I bid you not drag this out any longer. Pray read the stars and let us get this over with.
As you wish, madam. Now, let us see. What ails Mr. Allen so as to render him unable to perform his marital obligations towards Mistress Allen?
Definitely witches.
Your husband is suffering from a lack of sanguinity in the brain, which has resulted in a loss of carnal lust. According to my chart, there is little hope of remedy.
Verily, no hope at all?
Nay, I'm afeard not.
Oh, then Mr. Allen is not, cannot be a full husband to me. At least not in the full, true sense of being a husband.
Precisely so. And as a physician, it behoves me to observe how unnatural and lamentable it is that a wife be so neglected.
Oh, Simon.
Oh, my darling Avis.
What? Doctors against him do make war. Doctors against him do make war. He makes love without a care. Tis true, Avis is not his by law. But in love and war is fair. But in love and war is fair.
Last even, 'twas like a dream. Never in my life have I felt so. Oh, my sweet Avis, 'tis true you are married, but surely a love as great as ours can transcend such earthly impediments. Dare I hope for... Nay, 'tis most unlikely. Or is it? Forsooth, there be no harm in asking the stars. Might Avis Allen one day be mine? Says Avis is one day to be widowed, which will, of course, be very tragical. But after the grieving is done, we will marry. She will be Mistress Foreman. Mistress Avis Foreman.
Almighty God, lead thy servants forth away from sin and temptation, lest his wife does him an evil.
Good day, Dean Blugg. Fare you well?
Most well indeed, and I will tell you why. The conquering cherub has lately returned home to England.
Ah, this being the voyage you did invest in.
Aye, and what a sound investment it was, for it has paid off most handsomely. The cherub's cargo of nutmeg and pepper will fetch a high price indeed. In sooth, as I recall, it was you who advised me on this investment, was it not? I thank ye heartily for it, sir.
I am glad to have been of service, Dean Blagg.
Forsooth, my earnings have enabled me to make a substantial investment in Sir Walter Raleigh's expedition to the New World.
Ah, methinks I've heard of this. 'Tis a quest to find the fabled lost city of gold, is it not? Or as the Spanish call it, El Dorado?
The very same. For it is said that El Dorado does lie deep within the rainforests of the southern parts of the New World,
100%.
hiding vast quantities of gold and precious jewels. Hence, what I would have you tell me is, exactly how rich can I expect to be made from my investment?
I see.
For if I am to be made very rich, I am afeard that news of my fabulous wealth may cause some jealousy among the clergy. News travels fast around the diocese, and I think it wise to get ahead of it if I can.
Then let us consult the stars. What will become of Thomas Blagg's investment in Sir Walter Raleigh's quest to find El Dorado? I am afeard the expedition is doomed, Dean Blagg, for Raleigh and his men have had their progress impeded. The natives who dwell upon the banks of the Orinoco River are refusing to let their ships pass.
But surely Raleigh's men will defeat them.
It seems they're unable to do so, for the stars indicate that upon spying the faces of the native children, the hearts of Raleigh's men did melt. They are disobeying their orders and refusing to lay waste to the villages for the sake of gold.
Small children can be very beguiling. Mayhap we send missionaries to these villages to establish schools. Once taught the Christian virtues of obedience and honesty, the children will doubtless reveal the location of the City of Gold to Raleigh and his men. I will at once to Lambeth Palace go and discourse upon it with the Archbishop.
The symptoms are rare and the questions are queer.
From the ladies are strange and is artis Ferraro.
Good morrow, sir, and well met.
Indeed, 'tis I, Riccardo Ferraro, come once again to the great Dottore Simon Foreman.
Aye, and I can see why you are come. Methinks you are not well, signor. The colour of your face is quite alarming.
It is because I am losing the blood. The blood does drain away from my face, way down my body, and out of my...
You are bleeding from your fundament. How much have you been bleeding, and for how long?
Un poco, not too much. It does come and go. Sometimes blood, sometimes no blood. You stop the blood, see?
Mayhap I will, but first I must consult the stars to find a diagnosis. What ails Signor Riccardo Ferraro?
STD.
am afeard you have jaundice, Signor. You must be purged of this excess of choler directly. I advise taking a hot bath, into which you must add an ounce of vinegar. Be sure to breathe deeply of the vapours that do arise from it.
But how did you... Molto bene. I will take this bath that you advise. But what of the blood that is coming from out of my nethers?
Oh, worry not over that, Signor, for 'tis a most natural and healthsome process. Your body is merely attempting to purge itself of corrupted choleric blood, much the same as does occur in a woman's nethers each month. But a man has what are called hemorrhoids for this purpose.
Are you sure? That is your final answer?
Indeed it is. I do assure you, Signor, 'tis the very latest medical thinking on the subject of hemorrhoids. You are welcome to procure a second opinion, but I warrant you will find that most doctors in London will tell you the same.
Then Riccardo Ferraro bids you good day, Signor Foreman.
This woman has a gift for words. If only she had riches words, they'd probably be much better words. Though written by a lady.
Did you see that?
See what, madam?
Your querent, Signor Ferraro, scuttling away from me like a frighted rabbit. What have I ever done to upset the man? All I did was wish him buongiorno as I passed him at the door.
Verily, Signor Ferraro's behaviour does sound full strange. But let us not think of him, but of the matter that brings you hither, Mistress Lanier. How do you fare?
I fare most well, in the main, for I'm happy to report that you were quite wrong in judging that collaboration with Mr. S would fare ill, for in sooth 'tis going exceeding well. Verily, Dr. Foreman, I would be right content with my lot at present if it were not for the trouble I am come about this day.
Pray, tell me of this trouble, madam.
I am being prowled. Oftentimes in the night I see him following me home. One time methinks I even caught him looking at me through my window. I would have you tell me who this prowling man might be.
A prowler? How very worrisome. Can you describe this man to me?
Nay, for 'tis always at night that I spy him, and I have always been too frighted for my eyes to linger upon him very long.
Then let us see what light the stars can shed upon the identity of this man who hides himself in darkness. Who is the man prowling Mistress Lanier?
Ferraro! It's Ferraro!
The stars suggest that your prowler is a man with a talent for wit, a man who secretly harbours amorous feelings towards you. Does that sound like anyone you know, madam?
Dr. Foreman, I find your question most illogical. I cannot know of a man who harbours secret feelings for me, for indeed, if I were to know of them, the feelings would not be secret.
Yes, well, let me put it another way. Your friend, Mr. S, is the keen-witted man who furtively admires you. He is your prowler, madam.
Mr. S is my prowler, you say? Why, Dr. Foreman, what is in you? For indeed 'tis not the first time you have cast shade upon the character of Mr. S. I bid you, sir, check the stars again.
Is it not the most likely explanation, though, madam?
I assure you there is nothing likely about the unique relationship betwixt me and Mr. S. Indeed, he has too much respect for my literary mind to use me so ill. For his is a noble intellect that allows him to soar above the baser instincts of lesser men. Now, if you will not judge the stars again for me, I will bid you good day, Dr. Foreman.
Why does she keep coming back here if I miss it?
Hear ye, hear ye! Sir Walter Raleigh fails to find legendary Treasure City. Rumours say next Raleigh voyage is to Pot of Gold.
Here comes Emma, so kind is she.
To the frail and aged she offers
sympathy. What is she for others? Especially when they're born of wealth. Here comes Emma, so kind-hearted is she.
Good day to you, Mistress Sharp.
Good day, Dr. Foreman. But I am Mistress Delamere now.
Mistress Delamere? But as I recall from my case notes... let me see now. 'Twas 3 years past. Aye, were you not hoping to marry a man named George Middleton?
Oh, yes. I did marry Mr. Middleton. For though I did tell my family what you said about his condition of the heart, they quite insisted that I marry him. And truly, they were full wrong to do so, for just as you predicted, Mr. Middleton did verily die of his cardiac passion, mere months after we were wed.
So soon? How very tragical.
I blame the Scotsman who took to playing his bagpipes below our bedroom window at odd hours of the day and night. Such a bothersome man. Betwixt him and the vipers Mr. Middleton discovered one morning nesting in his undergarments, I fear 'twas all too much for his poor, weak heart. Oh.
There, my dear lady. How distressing your late husband's death must have been for you.
Aye, indeed, Dr. Foreman, so much so that my friends urged me to marry again, lest I die of grief. But now that I am once more a wife, I would not wish to be widowed anew, and John Delamere, my present husband, is also an older man. Dr. Foreman, you must tell me whether there be any illness he has, whether there be anything I might do to save my dear sweet husband from an early death.
Then let us see what the stars have to say. Is Mr. John Delamere troubled with any condition that may cause him to die?
His wife. He's troubled with his wife.
Mistress Delamere, the news is very grave. The stars tell of your husband being under the spell of a witch. Know you of a woman in your husband's circle suspected of being a witch? A disgruntled sister left penniless by feudal inheritance laws, perchance? Mayhap a local cat enthusiast, or a Scottish neighbour?
Nay, as true as I live, sir, I do not. But I will be sure to make inquiries. Good day, Dr. Foreman.
Sibyl's a fine host, of this she will oft boast. She loves to entertain, she loves to entertain. Though hard she does try, her dinners go awry. And in tears and shame.
Good morrow, Mistress Fortescue. How may I help you this day?
I did lately experience feelings of a most strange and disturbing nature, for which I desire an explanation.
I see. Prithee describe these feelings to me, madam. When did they occur?
Last eve, at a dinner party hosted by my dear friend Mistress Emma Delamere. All was well at first, but soon after my arrival I was stricken with a kind of madness.
Madness, you say?
Yes, moments during which I found myself overcome with feelings of mirth, laughing most immoderately at the dullest of remarks made by other guests. At other times I felt an unnatural fascination with the shape of the candelabra in the table's centrepiece, And all the while I was so ravenous with hunger, I quite absent-mindedly ate all the sweetmeats at my end of the table. I fear my rapaciousness did not escape the notice of guests seated beside me.
Such an immoderate appetite is out of character for you, I take it. It could not have merely been occasioned by anxious passions?
Why, nay, Dr. Foreman. Forsooth, I ought to have been very calm last eve, for I did spend the afternoon inhaling the fumes of an aromatic oil, a gift from my sweet husband, sent back from his explorations in the Near East. I did mention my husband, Captain Henry Fortescue, before, I think. He is a great friend of Sir Walter Raleigh. Oh, Henry and Sir Walter find the oil most relaxing, so he tells me.
Yet you were not so very relaxed last eve, I take it.
No, not in the least, for I fear a capricious spell was cast upon me. Over the course of the evening, I developed the strongest intuition that malignant forces were present in the room, and that I had been bewitched. Could it be true, Dr. Foreman? Might a witch have cast a spell on me?
That is something we shall have to ask the stars, madam. Let us see. What was it that afflicted Mistress Sybil Fortescue last eve at dinner? Now, madam, the oil your husband sent you. This was the first time you did inhale its fumes, methinks.
Yes, the shipment of gifts from my husband did only lately arrive.
Then I think we have your answer. I have read some interesting tales of such oils and herbs of the Near East. 'Tis said they occasion certain temperaments, to wit, an excessive sanguinity, which will have caused the immoderate laughter and increased appetite. They can also provoke a narrowing of the mind, which would explain your temporary fascination with the candelabra, and I believe the fumes of this oil may also have been responsible for the notion that you have been bewitched.
And the men of the Near East gain pleasure from this oil? They would render themselves foolish on purpose?
Aye, indeed. Foreigners have many strange customs and desires that we cannot hope to understand.
How fascinating! I thank you for this explanation, sir. Indeed, 'twill make for a most diverting tale with which to regale guests at my next dinner. God give you good morrow, Dr. Foreman.
Another consultation. Will this one end in bed? Or will Mistress Allen slap him round the head?
Good day, Mistress Allen. What brings you this day? Oh, dear lady, you tremble like a leaf on an autumn day.
Aye, for I am most affrighted. But Mr. Allen says he thinks I worry over naught. So I am come to you, for methinks you would... Perchance you may help me.
By my troth, Pray tell me of this evil that have frightened you, madam, and I shall do all in my power to protect you from it.
Yes, evil. Oh, indeed, 'tis the very word for it. I have seen a dark figure prowling outside our house in the night, and once I saw him spying through my window. Who is he? What does he want from me? What am I to do?
I see. And you do not recognize his face or any other particulars? The colour of his hair, for instance?
Oh, nay, for 'tis always so dark. But by his silhouette I can tell he is a bony, scrawny little man.
Is he verily? But your husband thinks 'tis naught to worry over, you say?
Aye, he says the man is doubtless naught but a poor travelling tinker who is merely taking shelter in our garden. 'Twould explain why his figure is so slight, to be sure, but what if he is not a tinker? What if his purpose is more sinister?
Aye, indeed. Then let us consult the stars. Who is the man prowling outside the Allen's house in the night, and what is his purpose? The stars suggest the Prowler is a secret foe of your husband. Does Mr. Allen have any gambling debts, perchance?
Hold. Methinks I see it now. Ah, 'tis you! The Prowler, 'tis you!
Me? How now, madam? What an outlandish notion.
So you would deny it, that you have prowled and spied upon me these last months?
Prithee, Avis, you've got it all.
I will not have it. I am not a thing to be owned. I'm not one of your prized possessions.
I prithee, madam, put that down. Put it...
Ah!
Fie, madam. That was a priceless Venetian vase.
Who is this man who has earned such a claim? Lately returned from his conquests in Spain. The streets of London resound with his fame. Robert Devereux, that is his name.
Good day, sir. How may I... By Jupiter! Can it be true? Robert Devereux, the Earl of Essex, Lord of Her Majesty's Privy Council, a hero of the Battle of Cadiz.
Prithee, calm yourself, Sirrah. Pray, treat me just as you would any other querent.
Of course, as it pleases your lordship. But may I say, what a great privilege it is to... may I offer you a...
You are the man who had some success treating the plague some years past, are you not?
Oh, indeed, my lord. You are very well informed. My strong water did save many a Londoner from a most lamentable death.
Then perchance you might have some cunning cure for me as well, for since I am returned to England upon having resolved that small matter in Spain, I find myself afflicted with the most vexing ailment.
Oh, but your most glorious capture of the Spanish city of Cadiz was no small matter, my lord. All England talks of nothing else. Why, pamphlets recounting your heroic exploits are sold on every street corner in London.
Mayhap they are. I know nothing of them. My single-handed victory against the King of Spain was but a trifling affair, and the least I could do for my queen and a grateful nation. But I fear vast riches and the hearts of many a Spanish beauty were not the only things I did capture while I was there.
What else did you capture in Spain, my lord? I fear I do not grasp your meaning. If you would kindly show me where upon your body you are...
As you see, this Spanish disease I caught has me oozing a most disagreeable substance.
Methinks I have a fair idea of the nature of your affliction, but I must confirm the judgment with a reading of the stars. Let us see, what disease troubles Robert Lord Devereux, the Earl of Essex? You have gonorrhea, my lord. 'Tis a condition provoked by an increase in intimate activities.
Too much strumpy-humpy, eh? Well, 'tis true that since news of my victory got about, every wench from Southwark to Shoreditch wants a piece of my action, as it were. And how may this gonorrhea be cured?
The most effective method is lead plate therapy. Usually this requires a man to lie in bed for many hours with a leaden plate positioned upon his privy parts, thus allowing the lead to impart its healing properties to the affected member. But, of course, men such as your lordship have no time to lie around in bed, which is why... Let me just fetch it from my cabinet. Which is why I invented this.
And that is what? Some sort of wonder chub, like the ones old men used to wear?
Precisely so, my lord. 'Tis a codpiece that I had a blacksmith fashion out of lead. I invite your lordship to wear it under your breeches so that the lead may remain in contact with your privy member at all times. Indeed, until you are cured.
How very droll this is. Verily, how old-fashioned. I will appear as hung as old King Henry Tudor. Mayhap I just wear it in my chambers.
Good day, and please come again. If you need anything at all, I am at your service.
Watch your lover, Avis, watch her night and day. If a woman has your heart, you cannot let her stray.
Avis, I did not expect to see you this evening. Do you bring news?
Aye, some very good news, at least if you confirm it for me. Methinks I am with child.
How very wondrous. And, have you any idea of who might...
Aye, verily, with child, but I dare not to. Forsooth, what if it be naught but false hope?
Then let us ask the stars without delay. Is Mistress Avis Allen verily with child? I'm sorry to tell you, Avis. You are not with child this time.
Nay, verily?
I am feared so.
But why?
Why are you so plump at present? Well, you're not as young as you once were, but with a trifle more exertion around the house.
First you tell me I'm not with child, and then you call me a plump, lazy old woman?
'Tis not I, 'tis the stars. I have no control over...
Oh, how could you speak such... Oh, why must you insult me so? What new imagined sin did I commit that you would punish me for now?
By my troth, 'twas never my intention to insult you, Avis. But I see I have vexed you. Pray forgive me, Avis.
Fret not, Simon. In truth, I know you mean no harm. Methinks 'tis that such disappointment is hard to bear. I did so wish it to be true, that you and I were to have a child.
Rich but not satisfied, mayhap you have not tried this one weird trick for displaying your wealth. Buy herbs and confections to boost your complexion and pass idle hours tending to your health.
Good even, sir. Who do I have the pleasure of welcoming to my chambers this day?
Nicholas Muggs, proprietor of Muggs Rugs down on Silver Street.
Ah, the wig makers. You supply wigs to players, do you not? I have heard tell of your fine work from some of my playhouse querents.
I thank ye for your kindness, sir. I do hear you are very skilled at your trade also. For are you not the curer of the plague of 92? Forsooth, I do hope you may cure me as well. For though I do not think I have the plague, whatever I have is doubtless most grave, no matter what my wife thinks.
And what is it your wife thinks?
It be her mind that I have taken naught but a chilly cold in the head. But 'tis not so, Dr. Foreman, for I ache all over. My throat is grown sore, and I cough day and night.
Day and night, you say?
Aye, verily.
I see. Then let us consult the stars. What does ail Nicholas Mugg? I'm sorry to confirm that your condition is indeed most grave.
Oh, most grave, you say?
I am afeard so, for it seems you have been stricken with a bout of hypochondria. 'Tis a disease of the mind that provokes delusions of illness in the sufferer, whilst he is, in truth, in a state of perfect health. My chart indicates that in your case it is so severe it may one day prove fatal.
What is it that you call it? I must own, sir, that though I understand little of what you say, by your tone methinks you do trifle with me. And to think that folks say you be different from other doctors. Well, sir, I will not tarry, for I see I do waste my time here.
Robert Lord Devereux's a rising star, dashing and debonair, he will go far. Oh, London greets him with cries of huzzah. In truth, we cannot state how smitten we are.
Good day, my lord. How may I do you service? Would it pertain to some thrilling adventure upon which you may soon be embarking?
Indeed it does. Sir Walter Raleigh and I did recently come across some intelligence concerning a fleet of Spanish ships that will soon be sailing home from the New World, bearing a goodly cargo of gold. Raleigh and I plan to borrow the royal fleet, which we will use to intercept the ships and seize the treasure.
Huzzah! But, borrow the Royal Navy, you say?
Aye, only temporarily, of course. The Queen will hardly know her ships are gone. Indeed, when we return them to her bearing a handsome prize of Spanish gold, she will doubtless forgive our failure to file the correct paperwork and what not.
Doubtless. And how may I assist your lordship in this glorious endeavour?
Well, in order to intercept the Spanish fleet, we must know which route it is planning to take. One possibility is that it returns to Spain having retrieved the gold from the New World's southern continent. The other possibility, and this is the one Sir Walter thinks most likely, is that the gold has already been transported by conquistadors from the southern continent up to Havana, and the ships are to fetch it from there.
Then let us see whether the stars can tell us upon which route the treasure ships may be intercepted on their return to Spain from the New World. Will they be sailing from the southern continent or from the Spanish colony of Havana? The stars are of the same mind as your friend Sir Walter Raleigh. For regardless of where the Spaniards load their ships with gold, they will stop at the port of Havana. It seems the Spanish sailors will be unable to calm their carnal desires.
Excellent, excellent. But where are we to intercept them? Pray, give me the precise day, latitude, and longitude.
Certainly, my lord. But divining nautical coordinates is a somewhat lengthy and complex process. If your lordship would kindly return in an hour or so...
Quickly, sir! I have not the time to bide here all day.
Well then, let me see now. Taking into account the position of Jupiter, divide by 3, carry the 1... yes. The Spanish treasure ships may be intercepted upon the 15th day of October at a latitude of 9 and 40 degrees north and 5 and 20 degrees west, or thereabout. That said, however, I cannot promise you that...
Excellent. Raleigh and I shall sail to this very spot. Huzzah!
Huzzah! Godspeed, my lord.
Oh, she never went to school, and she's kind and never cruel. Do not take Alice for a fool. Alice Blood, she is no fool.
Good evening to you, madam. How might I...
Pray go tell your master, Mr. Foreman, that Mistress Alice Blarg is come to see him.
Ah, Mistress Blarg. It is I, Dr. Simon Foreman, at your service. And what an honour it is to welcome the wife of the Dean of Rochester to my humble practice. To whom do I owe my thanks for having recommended you to my care?
Well, I will not lie. You owe your thanks to nobody, for folk do tell me that you are not a real doctor, but a quack, who does conjure demons and dabbles most unlawfully in the dark arts.
I do assure you, madam, that whatever you may have heard, I am
Yea, do not quibble, sir. If I did seek the counsel of a doctor who has one of those fancy medical degrees, or the kind of high-bred know-it-all who does see fit to judge a woman and vex her most cruelly, I would have gone elsewhere. But, truth be told, I have need of such a man as you, for I have been bewitched by a witch.
Ah, I see.
Yea, a loathsome spell has been cast upon me. It does cause me to awaken in the morning with a most terrible pain in my head, a pain so wretched it does have me chundering into my chamber pot.
Pain in the head and involuntary purging. And what leads you to believe your suffering is occasioned by witchcraft?
Well, the timing is most unnatural. My troubles do occur every Saturday morning without fail. I suspect the doings of our new neighbour, the widow MacDoon. As well as being Scottish, she does possess several cats.
Several cats, you say?
One or two of which I may have kicked, and now she has seen fit to take revenge upon me with her dark, foreign magic.
Indeed. Scotland is well known for the powerful black witchcraft practiced by its womenfolk. But as compelling as this evidence may be, my practice does draw upon the latest scientifical arts. To diagnose your condition, I must first perform a rigorous astronomical analysis. So, let us see now, what do the stars say is the cause of your Saturday morning suffering? Madam, may I delicately inquire as to whether it be the habit of you and your husband to take wine with supper? On Friday evenings, perchance? Drinking a little overmuch on occasion is nothing to be ashamed of. Many of my most respectable querents do find that a fine French claret can be deceptively...
Oh, nay, more's the pity. My husband is a tiresome teetotaler who prefers to spend his evenings writing sermons and counting coin. He hardly ever accompanies me to the tavern on Fridays.
Does he not? Well, in any case, I am much afraid that the ale you do consume upon these tavern visits may be to blame for your affliction. The consumption of strong drink can provoke an excess of black bile, which then does cause the body to purge itself the following day. I do advise you to consider...
Then I am not bewitched. But if that be true, then to poor Molly MacDoon I have been most rude and unneighbourly. For shame. I must go to her this hour and apologise. Fare you well, Mr. Foreman. I must bid you good day.